I look back over the years to when there was very, very little art in Jamaica. And I've watched it grow. And one of the things that has thrilled me is the wealth, the richness.
From the lips of the exceptional Edna Manley. Today we celebrate the 115th anniversary of the artist's birth. Hi, I'm Adrian Atkinson, and this is Jamaica Magazine. Coming up, words of commendations on the government's economic reform program from the head of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Dennis Chung. Then later, more on the extraordinary Edna Manley. We'll also have a little entertainment, so stay with us. It's a mixture of wonderful features between the pages.
The Mapping Jamaica's Diaspora Project, building a database on the human, financial and technological resources of Jamaicans abroad, helping government to connect with Jamaicans in the diaspora for mutual development. Jamaicans living overseas are encouraged to sign up now. Spread the word to family and friends abroad. To take the survey, visit mapjadiaspora.iom.int. Information shared will be kept strictly confidential. Let's work together for our mutual growth and prosperity.
Government is operating within a tight fiscal space, a necessary measure in order for the country to achieve fiscal prudence and ultimately economic growth. To break down the government's management of the country's finances, we have in studio the Chief Executive Officer of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Dennis Chung. Find out more now.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. We're speaking about the economy again. It's the time when people's attention is focused on the budget, on going forward, on the growth strategy that the country needs to pursue. We have with us today the CEO of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Mr. Dennis Chung. We thank you for your company. Dennis, good to have you on the show. Do you see this budget as indicating that the government has swerved from its path of really managed spending and is kind of on the spending spree?
No, I don't. I mean, the increase in the total budget by about $102 billion seems significant. But when you examine it, about 70 billion of that is going to go towards debt servicing. So you're talking about maybe $32 billion that's going to happen on the recurrent expenditure side. Of that amount, recurrent and infrastructure projects. So you might be talking about $2 billion on the infrastructure projects, which would come out to about $28 billion in 2016 from 26, and they might not even spend the 26. But a significant part of that $32 billion also is going to be increase in public sector wages. Okay. Now, one could say that, well, they're increasing public sector wages because election is coming up.
No,
but
because the wage restraint has been going on for a long time.
Right.
Yes.
My view is that the wage restraint has been going on for a long time. There's a commitment that after the 3 years an adjustment will be made. So I view it more in terms of that. But even with that, you know, I don't think there's going to be any significant increase. I think they're going to still hold a strain there. But I think also the additional amount that's going to be in it, maybe about 15 billion or so, is going to be necessary because remember the economy has been going through a lot of stress over the past 2 to 3 years. Yes. And therefore we're going to need to have some additional expenditure in the economy. Because if the fiscal remains too tight, it's going to restrict the growth prospects. So therefore I think that
so some space
some amount has to be created, even though I don't think there's enough, because we really should be spending about $100 billion on infrastructure projects. We're nowhere near that.
We just can't afford it.
Right, we can't afford it. So I think that there's still some tightness happening, right? Even with that, it's the targets that they have, it is going to be difficult to achieve on the revenue side, even with tax compliance. And the only way, the chicken and egg situation is that the only way to achieve that is with growth. But if you hold back too much on expenditure, you can't have growth. So you have to have some amount of release. But more importantly, there needs to be some facilitation of the business environment to bring a level playing field. For example, tax compliance must be a great emphasis this year, and also the bureaucracy point of view.
Yes. Well, the government is moving with its public sector transformation and modernization program. That's a key part of economic reform. But do you see the importance which has been attached to the increase in spending in health and in the area of security?
Yeah. Well, there's an increase in health and security in terms of the allocation, and I think they recognize that these are two priority areas. Certainly the health system has been suffering for a long time, and it needs to be dealt with. I mean, one of the ways of dealing with health, or two ways I would say, is number one, I think the message, the main message from Minister Ferguson has been the right message in terms of a healthy lifestyle.
Yes,
because 70% of all diseases in Jamaica are lifestyle related, which means that if it does change your lifestyle, you can prevent them.
Yes.
Think about now, if 70% of the cases are lifestyle related, what stress that puts on the budget.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's certainly, I think, the number one way of dealing with the health budget. The second way also is that, and this is again the chicken and egg situation, if you don't get the economy growing and people earning more, then you're going to have more health problems
yes.
and more stress on the health system. So you see where it's important to have that extra space in the budget, although it's nowhere near where it needs to be.
But do you believe that the main strategies that the government has been pursuing in terms of fiscal prudence, that these strategies are important for growth?
Yeah, man.
Important preconditions.
They're essential, because what happens is that if you don't have the fiscal prudence in place, then the demands from the government actually places a greater stress on private businesses and consumers. And once you have that, then the economy does not become competitive anymore.
I want to break at this point because we need to expand on that. The CEO of the private sector organization of Jamaica and well-known commentator on economic matters, Dennis Chung, is our guest on Issues and Answers. We take a break, but we'll be right back.
Businessmen and women, members of the MSMEs, no longer do you have to visit several government agencies to register a company or business name. Visit the COJ. They are willing and prepared to assist you in filling out the new business registration form, more commonly known as the super form.
The overwhelming response from the majority of our customers is, why did this take so long to happen? There are persons who actually waited until January 2nd to come here to do their business because they wanted to avoid going to multiple government departments.
Click on ocrjamaica.com for more details.
Welcome back. The CEO of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Dennis Chung, speaking to us about the budget as well as other economic matters. Dennis, so this matter of fiscal prudence is an important precondition for growth.
It's essential, as I said, because if there's too much demand from the government in terms of not being able to manage the finances properly, it's going to create a uncompetitive economy in Jamaica, which means that we won't be able to produce efficiently and that sort of thing because costs will be too high. So it's essential, and I think the government has been on the right path over the past 2 years.
You think so?
I think so.
Painful though it is.
It's painful, but
it's necessary.
It's necessary because if we don't fix it this time, we're going to have a problem.
And we have been postponing it, and that's a part of the reason why the problem is so intense.
Well, I put it this way, Ian. I started to know myself in the 70s. And as far as I can remember, we're always under austerity.
Yes.
So we need to deal with it now. And I think if we get through the next 1 to 2 years, that will be in a much better position. But what's going to be essential this year, the year coming up, is growth. We have to get growth going, and this is why I think that space has been created in the budget, right? Yes. What is going to be critical, though, is beyond the budget. How do we deal with the public sector transformation to bring greater efficiency? How do we deal with the bureaucracy and the attitude towards the private sector, right? Because that's really where the growth is going to come from. How do we get the tax compliance out there so that there's a level playing field, so that not just one set of people paying taxes and the other set of people are not paying taxes? Those are the things that we're going to have to focus on.
How does the private sector feel about the future of the country? Is the private sector confident? Are you picking that up among private sector people, that they're positive about the direction of the country, and they feel that it is worthwhile to invest in Jamaica? Yeah.
As you'd have seen, Ian, from the numbers, the business confidence numbers, the business confidence is at a high, right? And that's because people are more confident in the prospects for the economy. Last year, for example, there were significant investments by private sector companies. Places like Red Stripe, Mussons, Jamaica Broilers. Yes. I mean, people even invest in their own cogeneration units, which is a significant amount of investments. A lot of that, I think, is going to start paying off this year. We'd have seen also that unemployment started to trend down last year, right? What we find also is that the local companies are more competitive with the Trinidadian imports.
They are now.
Right. So we find that the local products are replacing those. So we think that the economy is getting into better shape. My main concern is that there's a significant part of the labor force that's going to need retraining in order to come back into the economy, right? And I think that is a big problem for us, because a good amount of the people, I mean, maybe 1 to 2 generations of people are not used to the work ethics we were used to before. So how do you bring those people back into the economy to be productive in a more competitive economy? But I think growth will come. Grace Kennedy, for example, you will see, has been doing a lot on the export side. Grace Kennedy has been buying distribution companies in the U.S. That means they're going to expand that significantly at some point in time. So I think the growth will come. One of the challenges we have, and we see the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, for example, and DBJ trying to work through it to assist it, is that we have to now create an environment for SMEs to flourish.
Small and medium enterprises.
Right. That is where you're going to see the momentum and growth happening once that happens.
And you see indications of that happening?
Yeah, man. I see a lot of people trying to start their own business, particularly coming out of university. So I think vibrancy is coming back there, but there's still more that needs to be done for that sector. Access to financing is improving, but still we need to push more on that. We need to also help them with capacity building, right? And I think if we continue on the path that we are, because a lot is happening there, right? Places like NCB, BNS, DBJ, the universities are working at it. I think that in another few years, if we keep on this path, then we will see much more activity at that level.
Are there significant things happening finally in terms of linkages in the economy? For example, like tourism having some link to the agricultural sector and so on. Yes.
I can speak directly to that, Ian, because I am a member of the Tourism Linkages Council, right? And we have been on that council for about a little over a year, and we've seen significant progress happening. But we've seen a lot of farmers markets that we have been involved in putting on that has been very successful, down to as far as Negril. The Negril one, I mean, they've been requesting more and more for it to happen. And what we've been seeing is also a lot of hotels now doing more business with local manufacturers. Yeah.
Oh.
So we're encouraged by that. And this is a meeting we have monthly to look at the reports. Ministry of Tourism, the operatives there, I think, is doing a great job. And working with us, we have JAMPRO, we have RADA, we have JS. Everyone is at the table, and we're seeing some progress there. I think also with the advent of the agri-parks, we really think that it needs much better management, but the prospects are great there. So I am optimistic that will happen, and once we sort out the things like the bureaucracy and the public sector transformation, the tax compliance, I think that will be in a better space.
For growth for the coming year. The optimism being expressed by the CEO of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Mr. Dennis Chung. We thank you for your company on Issues and Answers. Next week we'll be back. Until then, Ian Boyne wishing you a pleasant day.
In 2012, 11,964 persons were victims of fire. The Jamaica Fire Brigade wants you to be prepared. Plan your escape route. Install and maintain fire extinguishers. Practice fire drills. Look out for warning signs of dangerous wiring.
Don't cook and leave it unattended. Don't overload circuits. Don't allow children that are not of the age of 12 and untaught to be fooling around with fire in general.
Once a fire starts, you need to call us.
For more information on fire prevention, contact the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Call 922-2523 or 922-0007 or visit their website jfb.gov.jm.
Our message to the public is prevent, prevent, prevent.
The Jamaica Fire Brigade, saving lives, protecting property.
Edna Manley was born in England on February 29, 1900. She was educated at St. Martin's School of Art in London. In 1922, she married the late Norman Manley and came to live in Jamaica. This marriage produced 2 sons, Dr. Douglas Manley and the late former Prime Minister Michael Manley. Mrs. Manley was an artist, sculptress, and self-taught carver who won many awards over the years. They included Silver Musgrave Medal 1929, Gold Musgrave Medal 1943, Honorary Degree of Doctor of Letters 1975, Order of Merit 1980. Edna Manley was the founder of the Jamaica School of Art, which was a part of the Cultural Training Center. The school has since been renamed the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts in her honor. Some of Edna Manley's most famous works include Adam and Eve, Negro Aroused, and Paul Bogle.
I look back over the years to when there was very, very little art in Jamaica. And I've watched it grow. And one of the things that has thrilled me is the wealth, the richness, the variety.
Edna Manley died on February 10, 1987.
It ranks high on the woulda, shoulda, coulda list, pursuing one's dream to be a musician. Many people look out on the chance to sing, play an instrument, write, produce, and arrange or teach music because of job security, often opting for more traditional professions, and look back with a sigh, saying, if only. While most people have the aching in their hearts for their dream deferred, some brave souls are chasing their passion and living them.
It's my life.
In steps the Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts School of Music, the Caribbean's premier institution for dream catching of an artistic kind. With its commitment to preserving, balancing, and disseminating traditional and popular music, EMC's School of Music is helping students realize their full potential.
For me, music is my heart. It is a part of me, and it touches many people. To me, it's like medicine, you know. It's a way of healing, and so this is my tradition through music.
Founded in 1961, EMC's School of Music is the school's oldest arm.
It started more or less like a conservatoire, but by the mid-1970s, or early 1970s, towards the mid-1970s, we started developing programs. And when we came here in 1976, when the School of Music, Art, Dance and Drama came together on one campus at Arthurwind Drive, we started offering other programs. By the 80s and here into the 90s and now in the 2000s, we have developed, from our certificate through diploma and into our degree programs as we have it now.
The School of Music provides students with degree, diploma, and certificate programs in performance and teaching, popular music studies, instrumental and vocal teaching, music technology, and music education.
What would a woodcutter cut if a woodcutter could not cut good wood?
Providing a good mix of theory and practical, the School of Music is an avenue for students to blossom.
The principal instruments are taught privately 1 hour a week, and some students who do second study, they get half an hour a week or they get group lessons, and then we have groups for classes, like history classes, theory classes.
One has to be fully educated in the area to serve the area better. I truly believe in that. I think some of the best musicians are very educated people, and that tradition continues. And so I truly believe that if you want to become strong in the area, you need to get a solid foundation in the area. And this is one way of getting it, coming to the Edna Manley College, without a doubt.
And the students will attest to that.
That's been a lovely experience. I'm practicing, I'm still learning, and I hope to learn.
Being here has been great,
Once I got the flute, call it that. I was seeing in black and white before, and now I'm seeing in HD.
Instructors at the school are equally passionate about their craft.
Being a musician is something that you have to really want yourself to do, and you need to be able to put the effort into it because it takes a lot of work to be a musician. We don't ever stop learning as musicians, and if it's something you're going to do, it's something you have to do.
One of the saddest things in life is wasted talent. So if you want to have a shot at self-actualization, the School of Music could be right for you.
Well, we look for someone who can play really well, preferably play really well, or someone who we think has the potential, who hasn't had the experience of getting private lessons, and might be able to play really well. So we put them into the preliminary qualifying year and give them a year to catch up, and then accept them into the school in first year.
The first of 4 years. But dreamers,
make sure you have a foundation, otherwise you'll have nothing to build on.
Parents, make sure the children get immunized. Hear this! Immunization, it is a must. This is not a joke thing, this you can trust. It is required by law for entry to nursery, to daycare and to schools. Listen up, it is necessary to prevent diseases such as the measles, the poliomyelitis, the lockjaw and the whooping cough. Immunize your kids, keep them healthy, keep them strong. Prevent deadly diseases such as mumps, rubella and diphtheria. Immunize your child today. Immunization, a key to good health.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
There's a role for all of us, regardless of our economic standing, social class or religious creed, in helping Jamaica grow and develop to the benefit of all its citizens. One way to do our part is to behave in a peaceful and helpful manner towards others, to uplift ourselves as a people, whether for spiritual, emotional or material prosperity. Violence stifles progress. But through understanding, we can strive for peace and remove the tensions that fuel societal conflicts. And in our every step of sustainable peace is the need to show love, one of the basic ingredients for nonviolence. Consider the unlimited possibilities of making peace a gift to each other. The possibilities for progress to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Our final charge to you today. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Words from religious leader Buddha, pushing us to think positively. The information continues to flow on our website, jis.gov.jm. You may also follow us on Twitter at JIS News. Our YouTube channel, Watch JIS, has loads of videos and interviews. We'll be back on your favorite TV station tomorrow. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson on behalf of the hardworking team at the JIS. Have yourselves a wonderful Sunday.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.